Talking with the Chief Minister today, and rating system, you're finally going to have a reform on this. This must have been on the cards for some time now.
It has. We've been talking about it for a number of years now. And in fact, I think it was 2006 when I was Treasury Minister, we did a lot of work then. And in fact, to the extent we were on the point of bringing in some legislation to trigger this. Unfortunately, at that time, we got hit with the credit crunch, the VAT bombshell hit us, various other problems, and we had to shelve it at that time. And unfortunately, it's been left there since. There is a lot of pressure building up, though, I think, bearing in mind that we are now making more rate charges, such as the sewerage charge, for example, on the public. That the time has come now, I think, where we have to review the rating structure.
You're not going to go around all the houses, though, are you?
No, we have well over 40,000 houses on the island. It'll have to be banded and by value.
You're going to get a lot of people complaining. They're going to say they're wrong bands, aren't they?
Absolutely. Whichever way we go on this one, there will be complaints, there's no doubt, because there has been a suspicion built up that everyone is going to win by this, everyone will be better off. This won't be the case at all. There will be some winners, undoubtedly, but there'll also be losers in this.
Do they have a right to appeal, and someone does come around and then look at it?
There will be an appeal, I'm sure, when all that detail is revealed.
You could have thousands of people, though, couldn't you?
Well, Treasury is bringing forward its recommendations to Tynwald in January. That will give a clear indication of what the proposals are. It'll be a very tight timetable, though. It's hoping that the work will be finished within a year, and by April 2016 the new system will be in place. That's a huge amount of work to do in a very short period of time.
More squeezing on people going on here yet again?
Well,
you're going to look for more money out of people?
Well, we're not looking for more. This isn't to raise money. This is to bring in fairness in the system, because the pilot schemes, for example, which we ran back in 2006, showed in some areas two absolutely identical houses in every shape or form with two different rateable values. That's nonsense, clearly, and I don't know how any of these things happen, but they did. So this won't necessarily make people better off. It'll just mean that there will be a fair evaluation of the properties.
I can just see headaches ahead, though. I'm sure you can with this one.
There will be headaches and there will be costs, and that money is going to have to be found from somewhere as well.
Okay. The other one you've got here about highlighting the big ticket issues. And people from your quarterly economic report yet again states the obvious, that more people are living longer and the pensions are being kept going for longer as well.
Yes, the point that we make in this really, the quarterly report obviously gives us an overview of how things are going right across the island, but it just highlights once again the rapidly increasing number of pensioners that we have on the island, which we have to sustain. And it highlights exactly why we are currently reviewing the CR65 report to check out the long-term viability of the National Health Fund, to see what steps we have to take for the future to ensure that we can protect those pensions and protect the benefit system as well.
Was there any traction in those remarks from certain MHKs that it's not as bad as it seems, the pension pot, and it's not going to run out?
The information we were given by CR65 showed it was going to run out several years earlier than we expected it to be. Now, we have a changing dynamic on the island at the moment in terms of the island demographic. We have a rapidly aging population. We need a growing working population because our pensions are what you would call pay-as-you-go. So the workers of today are paying for the pensions of today. If that workforce was to contract, and it could quite easily contract if the economy slows down, we will not be able to generate the money we need to pay those pensions.
So were you right or are they right? I mean, you just don't know, you're saying. What?
There's an element of rightness in both of what everyone's saying.
Are you scaremongering now, Wes?
No, it's nothing to do with scaremongering. If we don't take these steps and start to take these steps now, both in growing the economy to ensure that we have a vibrant economy generating revenues for government, that we don't have a growing and younger workforce to sustain that for the future, in 20, 30 years' time, we will have a big problem.
So there will be means testing at some point coming in again on people's
no,
earnings and what they can afford?
I wouldn't go as far as say means testing on pensions.
No.
That's way, way down the road for someone else to decide. What I'm saying is we have to start the work now to understand exactly what the long-term implications are. And for those people who just poo-poo the whole thing and say, well, we've got plenty of money, we don't need to do it, that's not going to be the case. This project is looking forward 30, 40 years. It's not just something for the next year or two.
Oh, it's never been said to be easy being in this government, and everyone, I think, was ready and signed up for that. But they weren't ready to have threats made against them. And this last week, we've been hearing that Mr. Tier had received a credible threat of some description, and
yes.
the police were involved. Your thoughts, your views?
I am absolutely horrified, frankly, that something like this could happen on the Isle of Man when the threat was made in particular about Mr. Tier's wife, who is a totally innocent party in all this. No family member of any MHK or member of government should in any way have to go through all this. As MHKs, we expect verbal threats, we get abuse on a regular basis. That's part of the job, we expect that. This is a step far too far. I'm appalled that it happens to Mr. and Mrs. Tier. Eddie has an extremely difficult job to do as a Treasury Minister. Of course he's going to be unpopular from time to time, but a threat of this nature, and it is a serious nature. This
it's not trolling then on the internet, just someone saying something like that.
This was a direct letter to Mrs. Tier threatening
to Mrs. Tier
action against her, Mr. and Mrs. Tier,
yeah.
And this is way beyond anything I've experienced before.
Okay, so obviously the police are involved.
The police have been involved, and the police will continue their investigations, and I very much hope that they catch this person, and that person is made an example of, frankly, because the danger in all this, apart from the obvious immediate danger to Mr. Tier and his family, is that if politics gets so dirty on the Isle of Man that this sort of thing is now accepted as a part of the job, you're going to have a great difficulty getting anyone to stand for the House of Keys in the future. Why would anyone stand for the Keys if they're going to have their family exposed to these threats and dangers at the same time? Families don't sign up for that, and you will find a lot of potentially very good members just walking away and saying, no, we're not going to take that risk.